Yo, what up, y'all? It's your boy Rob coming back at you once again with another live stream. So before we get started, you already know what to do. If you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure you hit the bell icon twice. Smash the like button, share this video out to all of your followers, and let's get it cracking. All right. So shout out to everybody and thank you for everybody who is here. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. Before we get started, please make sure that you guys show DC Precise some love. DC Precise hit your man with a super chat. Definitely appreciate it. So throw some radiation emoji in the chat for him. Definitely appreciate it. All right. I'm going to shout out everybody that's in the building. We got DC Precise in the house. We got AB Promotions in the building. We got Volvo 2 Love in the house. We got Val Williams in the building. We got Brooklyn Queen 125. Shout out to Brooklyn Queen 125. We got Volvo 2 Love. We got the Troublemint twins in the building. Shout out to y'all. We got Mike Mellis John in the house, B1. We got Torian Rain in the building. We got Denise Scales up in here. Shout out to Denise. We got Katsy in the building. What up with it, Katsy? Good to see you. We got Shamika Gray in the house. Shout out to Shamika Gray. We got Lloyd Sky 9 in the building. Shout out to my man Lloyd Sky 9. We got Win Loser Rug in the house. And that's it. So shout out to everybody, man. It's good to see each and every single one of y'all. If y'all haven't done it yet, make sure that y'all smash that like button. All right, and let's get started. We still talking about the laws because the laws are always busy breaking the laws. You know what I'm saying? I saw a video this morning. A lot of times, like on the way home from work or something like that, I'll watch some videos on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? As my car audio or whatever. And I saw an interesting video. You know what I'm saying? And I thought that this video was actually really good. And it was a video that rationalized why this particular content creator believes that the powers to be, quote unquote, will not deliver on reparations promises or will entertain reparations talks, but whatever comes out of it will be diluted. It was a real interesting video, and the individual made a lot of points. But the best point that I think that he made was that European countries have been at war with Africans, right? Melanated people, regardless of where you're from, Africa, the Caribbean, you know what I'm saying, the Western Hemisphere, for like 500 years. Longer than that, if you talk about the Arabic slave trade, right? And if you talk about people who are European and people who are Asian. And I agreed with a lot of the points in that video. Shout out to Hurricane IQ. It was real interesting. And what was even more interesting was that this individual actually kind of said a lot of the things that I say. Shout out to Jay Cage. What's good with it, bro? He said a lot of the things that I say. He kind of discussed economic warfare and extra political means. You know what I'm saying? And my question to everybody is, going forward, what is people's goal? What is people's goal? I was watching this video. I watched another one. It was a YouTube short. And do you ever watch anything and the shit that you watch, it just rubs you the wrong way, regardless of whether the intention was to rub you the wrong way or not? Certain shit that you see, does it just ever just rub you the wrong way? It's like, damn, you know what I'm saying? Like, the way that the world is nowadays, people can just be so out of pocket and it's accepted as correct. People accept it as correct. You know what I mean? And I'm just sitting here watching this video and I'm like, yo, man, this is crazy. It's crazy. And I think about how disgruntled people sound when they see this kind of stuff. And to me, it's just wild that as upset as people are, as disgruntled as people are, we don't really see a hardcore push for a change. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Torian. Torian says, I think one issue we have is a double-edged sword. When we do for self, here comes the sabotage. When we reach out for assistance, we're told to pull ourselves up by the bootstraps. I think that we should ask for assistance. And then when people ask us for assistance, we should either pull them in or we should break their hand. Figuratively, of course, YouTube manual reviewers. That's how I feel. You know what I'm saying? I feel that we should be doing sabotage. I don't know if you guys been following my little BLR animated series storyboards, but I talked about how BLR Industrial sabotaged WS Labs. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't feel that if people are doing disturbing things that could possibly be harmful to you, that people should play fair. Shout out to my man Keep It 100. I was actually talking to Keep It 100, and Keep It 100 was playing me a video, and in that video, he was saying one of the reasons why there's a lot of issues is because we tend to play fair. I don't think that there's any bragging rights in playing fair unless we win. Let me ask you guys a question. Do other people play fair with us? Shout out to Carlton. What's good with you, bro? If other people play fair with us, give me a thumbs up. If they don't, give me a thumbs down. Shout out to the Torian again. Torian says it's not just the WS we have to worry about, it's their underlings as well. Yeah, I do see what you just did. I do see what you just did. You know what I'm saying? I call them all WS, bro. It doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? If let's just say for if you're a New England Patriot, right? Football team, do it matter what color you are? Now, it might matter what color you are for publicity purposes. You know what I'm saying? It might matter what color you are for, court of public opinion. But as far as if you're playing against the Chiefs, right? If you're playing against the Kansas City Chiefs and you're New England Patriot, it doesn't matter. You follow the New England Patriots game plan. You know what I'm saying? You follow the New England Patriots coaching staff. You know what I'm saying? You get a paycheck from the New England Patriots. When you score points, those points get logged for the Patriots. As far as I'm concerned, WS is a team and teams recruit. So I don't believe when people talk about like underclasses and you know what I'm saying, like that kind of stuff, I look at them all as WS. That's what they want to be a part of. If they're trying to be a part of that team, you know what I'm saying, then they're recruits. You know what I'm saying? They're what do you call that? What do you call that when somebody's trying to get on the team? They're recruits. They're trying to get on the team, which means that they've already made up their mind who they're a part of. So to me, like it doesn't matter. To me, like WS is the epitome of skin folks ain't kin folks. Candace Owens, as far as I'm concerned, she's team WS. You know what I'm saying? I don't care. I wouldn't save Candace Owens or any of those type of people like that. I wouldn't save the Hodge twins, or I wouldn't save, Officer Tatum or anybody like that. They are exactly, in my eyes, if not worse, exactly like a WS. You know what I'm saying? They need to have power removed. They need to be completely discredited, and they need to be gotten up out of the paint the same way that the entire WS system plays. You know what I'm saying? So my question is, as far as politics goes, how do you deal with things, right? How do you deal with a system, or how do you deal with a belief or a structure or a world where the moment you try to make a move or the moment you try to advance, the rules change? How does that work? You know what I'm saying? And shout out to my man AB Promotions. AB Promotions says, I'm only working with people I align with and respect. Other than that, I'm trying to stack as much as I can. Unfortunately, I'm far behind where I'm supposed to be. I'm good, but I'm not. that makes sense. It makes a lot of sense, bro. If you guys agree with AB, give me a thumbs up. If you guys disagree, give me a thumbs down. I agree with that 100%. You know what I'm saying? And make sure y'all show him some love. Throw some radiation emoji in the chat. First stream sponsor with the 19.99 super chat. You know what I'm saying? Katsy says, seriously, I think you need to do shit under the radar. When you have succeeded in what you set out to do, then you spring it on them. If you invent something, get the patent and then show the world. Yeah, I agree. I agree. And I agree 100%, Torian. Torian says the people making the rules are feckless jellybacks. Their co-signers are weak sewer drillers. Facts. So now let me ask you guys a question. And this is why I call this particular little group of videos that I'm doing, quote unquote, the laws. Because my question for you guys is, who would make rules and laws that would be favorable to them losing? And my question is, if you're somebody that is persecuted by these laws and not somebody that benefits from these laws, do you have an obligation to follow the laws? I don't feel like there's an obligation to follow any laws that are made. For what? No one would do that. Facts. So now let me ask you guys a question. When coming up with the legal system, when coming up with the structure of the legal system, do you think that the legal system was actually meant to, quote unquote, create justice? Or was the legal system created to create the illusion of justice? People always talk about the illusion of inclusion, right? But what about the illusion of justice? Is there an illusion of justice? How much do people trust the quote unquote justice system? When is an example of the quote unquote justice system providing justice? But we're supposed to look at this justice system like it's legitimate. Why is the justice system even in place? Because somebody else said that it's in place. Somebody else put it there. Somebody else said this is the system of justice because we have the power and we're making the rules. Guess what? In the black light world order, I'm the judge, jury, and executioner. And I'm going to tell everybody that that's a system of justice. Why? Because I run shit. This ain't a democracy. Now, let me ask you guys a question. Do we get told this is a system of justice? And the reason why it's a system of justice is because we say that it's a system of justice. But how is it a system of justice, though? Let me ask you guys a question. When it comes to justice, how much influence do you have over the consequences of someone who does wrong to you in this world? Somebody else makes that decision, don't they? And I gotta agree with Torian. Again, Torian on fire today. Torian said the criminals are making the rules. After all, wouldn't they have had to commit a crime in order to implement something to get others on the outside on for something they did? Exactly. Shout out to Tone. What's good with it, Tone? Exactly. Exactly. If you ask me, the legal system, quote unquote, is just basically a timeline of every single act that the people that created this country utilized in its creation. And they've made it illegal as a securing mechanism so that nobody will ever be able to build anything as strong as this country. And so far, it's worked. Would you guys agree? Everybody's so anti-human trafficking, but nobody's anti-human trafficking when it came to foundational Black Americans. They call it the transatlantic slave trade, as if it was some type of commodities market. If the transatlantic slave trade was so normal, why aren't there examples of that all throughout history? Why aren't there examples of race-based supremacy systems all throughout history that show other races in the same situation as Black people have been in? Why is everybody else's history celebrated and people don't want us talking about ours? People should have asked these questions. So I'm asking you guys, what's you guys' answers to that? If you ask me, the reason why they call it the criminal justice system is because it's the criminals, quote unquote, dictating what justice is. I don't trust somebody else to provide consequences for acts against me. I want to take care of my own consequences. Do you all feel that some judge is capable of providing you justice? We have to call this judge your honor. But why? Why honor them? I don't honor any judge. Shout out to my man Black Star Racer. What's good with it, bro? I don't think that there's anything honorable about the criminal justice system. If you ask me, the criminal justice system is one of the biggest abuses of power in human history. It's a corrupt mafia organization where the criminals are running things. And they call it, quote unquote, the law, the rule of law. You can always guess how this stuff is going down. And I think that a lot of times people are in denial. And then when we see the reality of it is upsetting that we saw it and we're able to guess properly. The reason why we saw it and we're able to guess properly is because we understand it, because we deal with it on a visceral level. And I think that we need to start moving beyond dealing with it on a visceral level. I don't know if you guys heard about what went on in West Virginia, but 2 high-level employees were fired amid a West Virginia corrections lawsuit. Now, who actually needs to be corrected? The people behind bars or the people who locked them up? That's my question. So now it says we have an update tonight about the alleged wrongdoing within the West Virginia Department of Corrections. Governor Jim Justice administration confirmed that 2 high-level employees have been terminated after complaints about conditions at Southern Regional Jail in Raleigh County. Now, let me ask you guys a question. When it comes to the criminal justice system here in the United States, are there double standards? And what are those double standards? When it comes to the Court of Public Appeal, the Court of Public Appeal says that even if you're just committed, if you're just accused of a crime, if you were in proximity of being accused of a crime, well, then by all means, you're guilty, you did it, and whatever the system of justice dictates for you, then that's what you get. That's what you get. It's the same logic that they use with police shootings. It doesn't matter. At that point, we want to justify you being able to be deleted. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? But now when it comes to one of them, how does the criminal justice system work? Well, we need to take this to court. We need to examine all of the evidence. Let me ask you guys a question. How many times did you hear the phrase, quote unquote, we need to examine all of the evidence when it came to Jonathan Majors? I just saw something that came over my email. They still talking about canceling Jonathan Majors. Marvel Comics. So how does that work? And I agree, Cassie. I think that there is more than double standards, and I also believe that there are more than two tiers in the justice system. Yeah, I agree. If you guys agree with Cassie, give me a thumbs up. If you guys disagree, give me a thumbs down. I agree with that. So now here it says earlier this week, a federal magistrate involved in reviewing a class action lawsuit filed on behalf of state inmates said evidence was intentionally destroyed. So now here's my question. Who destroyed the evidence? So now if you're basing a trial on evidence and these individuals have access to destroy the evidence, how is that a fair case? How is that a fair trial? You're getting shafted before your case even gets into the courtroom. Would you guys agree? And real quick, ladies and gentlemen, shout out to everybody that's watching. We got 33 people watching and we got 22 likes. If everybody can bang on that like button, that'd be great. The lawsuit said that overcrowding and understaffing is leading to illness and even some deaths of inmates. Now, let me ask you guys a question. How many people are subscribed to Blacklight Revelations news, reviews, and reactions? If you're subscribed to Blacklight Revelations news, reviews, and reactions, put a flame in the comment section. The reason why is because we did a series on Blacklight Revelations news, reviews, and reactions where we talked about a prison in Pennsylvania where the inmates were freezing to death. You guys remember that story? I'm sure some of you guys remember that story. Nobody's gone to jail for that to this day. So now here we are, not very far from Pennsylvania in West Virginia, with the same situation going on. Despite letting these two state employees go, Governor Justice Office says it disagrees with the magistrate's overall assessment of the case. West Virginia Secretary of Homeland Security, Mark Sorosea, says it was state policy to sweep a former employee's emails from the system once they were gone for 5 months and that there was no criminal intent. We will agree that there were mistakes in that process by individuals, and those individuals are no longer in any have responsibility for future discoveries, Sorosea said. We're taking steps to clean up, but I can say that respectfully, I disagree with the magistrate that we intentionally failed to disclose evidence. Here's my question: why did the magistrate say that they failed to disclose the evidence? Then there was a black woman who died in the Indiana jail. Still, nothing's been done about that. Now, let me ask you guys a question. When it comes to us living in the United States, does the United States treat us as if we're prisoners of war? And my question is that if you're a prisoner of war, are you obligated to follow the laws of your captors? That's my question. So now here it says Governor Justice added that if they do find anyone intentionally destroyed evidence, they will be fired and prosecuted, which they're not going to do, which is the reason why they keep saying we don't think that anybody did this. Now, here's my question. When it comes to the United States, quote unquote, who polices the police? Who polices the police? So now we're going to go down to Florida, the same state where black people go to die, according to Ron DeSantis, because you don't get to speak in code. We're going to call it what it is. You know what I'm saying? We're going to call it what it is. How many how many people agree that the way that the word woke is being thrown around, the word woke is a substitution for the word black? If you guys agree with that, give me a thumbs up. If you guys disagree with that, give me a thumbs down. So when Ron DeSantis says Florida is where the woke go to die, homeboy, it don't matter what you say. We know what you meant. And it doesn't matter what people say. We know what you meant. So we're going to say what you want to say since you won't say it. Florida is the state where black people go to die, at least in your sick fantasy. Shout out to Vincent Harper. What's good with it, bro? And shout out to Caldona. So in Florida, Fort Lauderdale officer was suspended after stopping robbery suspect car with kids inside. Now, why is that a problem? It's a problem because they're saying that Officer Carl Hirsch said he performed a maneuver investigators said he wasn't trained to do because he worried for the kids' safety. And now, as a result, he's suspended.
Fort Lauderdale police officer suspended after a maneuver behind the wheel that helped save the lives of 2 young girls.
But now the city is looking into whether that reprimand was the right move. NBC6's Marissa Bagg is live at the scene of the car crash that got him suspended. Marissa.
Now, Jackie, this all started with a police pursuit of 3 robbery suspects. Those robbery suspects ended up being arrested that day, but they had 2 kids in the car at the time. Thankfully, they were not injured in all of this. A Fort Lauderdale police officer who helped bring that car to a stop that day was suspended. And he said in a report that he did what he did because at one point during the pursuit, he saw a child's foot sticking out of the car, and he was worried for the safety of the children.
Work in law enforcement, but work at Fort Lauderdale.
Just 3 years into his career with Fort Lauderdale Police, records show Officer Carl Hirsch was suspended for having 3 car accidents in his patrol car within a year. Some say in the last crash, which triggered a 2-day suspension, he should have been praised instead of punished.
He should have got an award, an accommodation. You don't suspend officers for saving children.
In a state where woke goes to die, you suspend officers for saving children, especially if they're black. Real quick, ladies and gentlemen, shout out to the second stream sponsor. We got Black Spider on the board with the $20 super chat. Definitely appreciate it. Please make sure you guys show her some love and throw some radiation emoji in the chat. She says, a little something for the FBA war chest. Every little bit counts. And that's a fact. That's a big fact. I definitely appreciate it. Thank you so much. You know what I'm saying? So I want y'all to pay attention to this. This dude was suspended when he did one of his little illegal maneuvers, and it actually saved some black kids' lives. Let me ask you guys a question. Does that make any sense? If that makes sense, give me a thumbs up. If it doesn't make any sense, then give me a thumbs down.
Police officer suspended after a maneuver behind the wheel that helped save the lives of 2 young girls.
But now the city is looking into whether that reprimand was.
So now he's never been suspended before. Now remember, they brought up his record, right? And they said that he has like some reckless driving before. That never caused him to get suspended. But when his risky driving actually saves some black kids' lives, now he's suspended. Let me ask you guys a question. As backwards as that sounds, is that actually backwards, or is that what you would come to expect here in the United States? See, that's the question.
Welcome back. A Fort Lauderdale police officer suspended after a maneuver behind the wheel that helped save the lives of 2 young girls.
But now the city is looking into whether that reprimand was the right move. NBC6's Marissa Bagg is live at the scene of the car crash that got him suspended. Marissa.
Now, Jackie, this all started with a police pursuit of 3 robbery suspects. Those robbery suspects ended up being arrested that day, but they had 2 kids in the car at the time. Thankfully, they were not injured in all of this. A Fort Lauderdale police officer who helped bring that car to a stop that day was suspended, and he said in a report that he did what he did because at one point during the pursuit, he saw a child's foot sticking out of the car, and he was worried for the safety of the children.
Work in law enforcement, but work at Fort Lauderdale.
Just 3 years into his career with Fort Lauderdale Police, records show Officer Carl Hirsch was suspended for having 3 car accidents in his patrol car within a year. Some say in the last crash, which triggered a 2-day suspension, he should have been praised instead of punished.
Should have got an award, an accommodation. You don't suspend officers for saving children.
Police.
Yeah, you actually do. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Speaks Facts Podcast. What's good with it, bro? Yeah, you actually do. It depends on who those kids are. And I got to agree with Hurricane IQ. Hurricane IQ says he was suspended because the kids are not PC. Facts. If you guys agree with Hurricane, give me a thumbs up. If you guys don't agree with Hurricane, give me a thumbs down. In most cases, regardless of what kind of rules you break, you know what I'm saying? Especially if you're a police officer, you're going to get praised. Now, mind you, right, when a police officer inappropriately deletes a black person, or when a police officer does something outside of protocol, in most cases, nothing happens. This particular police officer did something that actually saved some kids immediately off the force. Shamika got it. Shamika got it. He was suspended for not doing his job, which is to hurt, not help black people, period. Facts. And if you ask me, this right here makes that clear and evident. Val Williams says they are sending that police officer a message. Facts. Now, mind you, again, he wasn't disciplined before. But when he saved some kids, some black kids, then he is disciplined.
Body camera video shows Officer Hirsch swerving toward a suspect's car that was being pursued by police back in January. 2 young girls were in the back seat. The driver had bailed out and the car was still moving along Northwest 47th Terrace in Tamarack. Officer Hirsch helped pin the moving car against a BSO deputy's vehicle and a wall to bring it safely to a stop. You see him here moments later holding one of the girls.
If you have policies that stop law enforcement officers from being able to do their job, we're all not safe.
In an internal affairs investigation, Fort Lauderdale police used a matrix to determine whether Hirsch should be penalized. Department policy considered his previous crashes, the damage to the vehicle, which totaled close to $10,000, and whether it was a preventable crash. Investigators determined Hirsch attempted to utilize a tactic to stop the suspect vehicle, which he had not been trained to do.
Man, if only they would take this kind of scrutiny against police officers that delete unarmed black people running away from the police. So what we're going to do is we're going to throw the book at a police officer who did something that he's not trained to do, like a choke. You know what I'm saying? We're going to throw the book at this dude, though. Like I said, stuff like this just tells you everything you need to know.
While attempting to do so, he lost control, and that inhibited his ability to slow down. Neither Hirsch, the police union, or Fort Lauderdale police would speak to us about what happened. Fort Lauderdale police policy says an officer can be terminated if they have 4 crashes in their patrol car within a year.
Now, mind you, if you have 4 fatal shootings, you know what I'm saying? Like, they're just, you know, it is what it is. Just saying.
And the Fort Lauderdale city manager told me a short time ago that he has asked his staff to take a closer look at this policy to determine if it needs to be updated to account for extenuating circumstances, like having children in a suspect car, like what happened in this particular case. He said it could end up that the suspension will be removed from the officer's record, but it all depends on that review.
Now, I want you guys to understand something, right? These people, allegedly, right? These people are so pro-black back to blue, right? Now, what I find fascinating is that I searched and I looked all over social media. And I didn't see not one group of people, conservatives, you know what I'm saying? Any of them type of folks, blue line on any of that. I didn't see none of them advocating for Officer Hirsch to be reinstated. You know what I'm saying? I didn't see anything calling for him to keep his job. And I didn't see any complaints about just how difficult it is for police officers to be able to do their job. Ron DeSantis didn't set up a GoFundMe for him to get him $1 million so that he can survive during his time off of the police force while he thinks about what he did wrong. I didn't see any of that. This dude broke policy to try to save some kids. You know what I'm saying? But they say, right? They say, well, you know, all police officers aren't bad. Well, if all police officers aren't bad, then you would think that you would hear from them pro-police folks about the ones that actually do decent shit. What that shows you is what the police are there for. And it's not to do anything good for us. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to my man DSB for supporting the channel for 9 months. Make sure you guys show him some love. Throw some radiation emoji in the chat. Definitely appreciate you, bro. Appreciate all of the members. Appreciate everybody that super chatted. Definitely appreciate y'all. Eggs. Tedra got it, man. Shout out to Tedra. Tedra got it. You know what I'm saying? Tedra said if the car would have crashed and the children would have died, they would be saying it was unfortunate that the children died, but would praise the officer for stopping the robbers. Facts. If you guys agree with Tedra, give me a thumbs up. If y'all disagree, give me a thumbs down. Shamika said, okay, this is kind of weird because they also take pictures with black children when they are taking them from their parents. Yeah, facts. Super facts. So there we go. That's the laws. Clearly one of the laws for the police in Florida is not to help black children, which we all know. You know what I'm saying? None of that Florida education revamping helps black children, which the thing is that how, let me ask you guys a question. If you're in a war against people, how do you stop, quote unquote, rebellion? Or how do you stop, quote unquote, insurrection? How do you stop that? You stop that by getting to the population at a young age. Once you've gotten to them at a young age, in most cases, by the time that they grow up, they're not interested in doing any of that risky kind of stuff. They're not interested in doing any of that. They're going to think that the way that the world is the way that it's supposed to be, and they're not really going to question anything. They're just going to try to live and exist in peace, which is what you see people doing now. So let me ask you guys a question. Is a city manager a position of trust and responsibility? If it is, give me a thumbs up. If it's not, then give me a thumbs down. And shout out to Carl and Denise, Val, Brooklyn Queen, and everybody that's been hitting the Nightbot. Definitely appreciate you guys. And also, real quick, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys have not smashed the like button, please make sure you guys take a moment, smash that like button. Also, if you guys haven't hit the bell, please make sure that you guys hit the bell. How would you feel if this happened to your city manager? How would you guys feel? Kansas City manager is suspended after video of him doing that on a couch is sent to employees. Now, why was there a video? Why is there a video? Kansas City manager has been suspended and is expecting to be fired after staffers were sent an email showing him doing that on a couch. All right. The disturbing video of Shawnee County's council's $190,000 a year manager, Doug Gerber, was emailed to several employees from an anonymous account with the subject line, most important. Okay. So we might have to look at this Kansas City Star to see what's going on here. It appears to have been filmed by Gerber. So they feel that it was filmed by him, who also seemed to be alone during the act. According to the Kansas City Star, which reviewed the tape after obtaining email records through a public information request, the identity of exactly who sent the clip or how they got it was not immediately clear. This is just a disturbed individual trying to cause issues with the city, a city IT employee wrote to staff members in the Kansas City suburbs. However, the anonymous sender told the Kansas City Star in an email exchange that they wanted to expose Gerber's online behavior, suggesting that this clip was to entice someone seemingly without proof. Now, let me ask you guys a question. Do you all believe that claim? Does that claim sound logical? If you guys think that it does, then give me a thumbs up. If you think that it wasn't, then give me a thumbs down. Here's my thing. I don't have any problem with anybody self-pleasuring. You know what I'm saying? Some people may be taken back by that. Hey, if you are, whatever, you know what I'm saying? But me personally, I don't have a problem with that. For one, do it in your own home, do it in private. And for two, if you are doing that kind of thing where you're exchanging that kind of stuff, you need to make sure at the least that it's secure. But the thing is, to me, the fact that it wasn't secure and it was able to be hacked, if you're not secure with that kind of sensitive information about yourself, how protective are you over trusted information that goes on with the city? So what this implies to me is that I don't know why he sent it. I don't know how it got out other than this individual who hacked it, but it shows that you're kind of careless. And if you're kind of careless, I don't think that being a city manager is a position for you. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that. So now it says, we don't hesitate to expose people involved in these dubious, un-Catholic practices, the sender wrote. So apparently this guy is a Catholic. Gerber has been investigated over rumors of previous impropriety before he was hired in March, Council President Eric Jenkins confirmed to the Star without elaborating. The consultant leading the job search, however, assured them that she thoroughly searched the background of Mr. Gerber and had found absolutely nothing that would give us cause to not select him, Jenkins said. But now, one thing that we do know is that when it comes to the internet, depending on who you know and what kind of skills they have, things can be scrubbed, right? Things can definitely be scrubbed from the internet. Still, Shawnee Mayor Michael Disler said she was not incredibly surprised at the scandal because of unspecified concerns over Gerber's behavior at his previous job in Topeka. Now, here's my question for you guys. What was he doing at this job previously in Topeka? Do you all notice that when it comes to this article, it seems like nobody is surprised by this? The fact that nobody is surprised by this tells me that there could be a little bit of history. There could be a little bit of history. You know what I'm saying? And real quick, ladies and gentlemen, shout out to everybody that's watching. We got 43 people watching and we got 38 likes. If everybody can bang on that like button and get us over 40, that'd be great. So now here it says, what I do know is that during the city manager hiring process, the governing body, look at this, the governing body had been made aware of previous issues and accusations against Mr. Gerber, she said in the statement. Now, let me ask you guys this question. How serious do you all take accusations? In many cases, if there's a small amount of accusations or a moderate amount of accusations, I'll take it under advisement, but I'm not going to just go ham over some accusations. However, if there's an ongoing pattern spanning over a long amount of time of accusations, now I'm going to be looking into these things a lot more closely. Because at this point, with this pattern established, what it seems like is that it's possible that you just might not have gotten caught. And I think that that's what the case is with this particular individual here. You know what I'm saying? So now it says the additional concerns I raised during those discussions were dismissed, and the council proceeded to choose Mr. Gerber, stating he was most closely aligned with their values. So they had concerns about this guy, but they dismissed him. They ignored them. Why? Why did they dismiss him? Why did they ignore him? The local paper noted that Gerber could be a victim of a state law forbidding such sexual material from being shared without permission. However, the city council held an emergency meeting late Wednesday and unanimously voted to put Gerber on administrative leave, in part for keeping the scandal a secret for more than a month. Now, let me ask you guys this question. Why would he keep the scandal a secret? If you're a city manager, when it comes to this kind of stuff, you're supposed to be transparent, right? But instead of transparency, this particular individual decided to keep this stuff a secret. This email was received at City Hall, we've been told, on September 29th. I didn't find out about this situation until Halloween night, said Jenkins, the city council president. If he failed to communicate on this, what else has he failed to communicate on? Jenkins told KCTV. And that right there is my question. I mean, this was kind of the first big test he had, and he didn't do very well. So I think our actions were very appropriate. They were measured. An interim manager is being picked, and Gerber is expected to be fired, said Jenkins, who told KCTV he doesn't see how this man can move forward being a leader of our staff and our go-to guy as the city manager. Now, let me ask you all this question. Do you all feel that firing him is the appropriate thing? If you guys feel that firing him was the appropriate thing, give me a thumbs up. If you guys didn't, then give me a thumbs down. Listen, I would be like this. If it was me, right? I'd be like, hey, I just want you guys to know this. some sensitive information was found about me. What I want you guys to understand is that this sensitive information that could possibly come out was only utilized in an appropriate context, being consensual adult to consensual adult. People may see this content and be turned off because of the nature of the content. Understandable. However, what I want to assure you is that this kind of content was only sent between consensual adults and was only done in a legal fashion. I would never behave in this way in an illegal manner, and I would never utilize any of this kind of material to harm anyone who is protected by the law. There's certain things, some people will do things that other people won't. You know what I'm saying? Some people like sending pictures. Some people like sending little videos. Me personally, I don't have a problem with that. If this is something that you think is going to be career affecting, or if it's going to be something that affects public trust, if public trust is important to you, in my opinion, one thing that you should probably try to do is maintain public trust. And if you ask me, maintaining public trust would be to be transparent about that particular issue, if you feel that that's an issue that could be compromising to your career. You know what I'm saying? Now, I think that he could have said something like that. That wouldn't have necessarily put out what the information was on the video, but just that, you know, if something shady came up, here's the context of it. If you don't believe me, then as this stuff comes up, then let's see what comes out about it. And if what I'm saying is not true, then, you know, you guys can come and get me to the fullest extent. If not, then please continue to trust my judgment, as this particular incident doesn't have anything to do with how competent I am at doing my job, which, if you ask me, it directly does have something to do with how competent he is with doing his job, because he needs to be protecting sensitive information, and he didn't protect his own sensitive information. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Cameron Jones. What's good with it, bro? Yeah, I don't blame you. Cassie says, I don't have a problem with that. I personally would never do that. Videos are easily intercepted and can cause all kind of trouble. Yeah, that's true. That's big facts. You know what I'm saying? So now here it says 3 city council candidates has issued a joint statement calling for an investigation into Gerber's actions and that of the city council in the month after the video was first shared. Gerber refuses to discuss the scandal, including why somebody would send it and why it was not revealed to council members earlier. I think it's not in the city's best interest right now to comment, Gerber told the Kansas City Star. I don't think it's in his best interest to cancel. I don't think the city really got anything to worry about, because the city is going to be there whether he's there or not. You know what I'm saying? So we got another individual, right? And the thing that I want people to understand is that when it comes to these people who are in positions of power, you got to ask yourself this question. And the question is, should people who are in positions of power, power brokers, right? Agents of power, should those individuals be held to a higher standard than people who don't hold those kind of positions? If you're in a position of quote unquote public trust, or if you're in a position of quote unquote advocacy to a vulnerable audience. No, he didn't send it, Tasha. Cameron said, I'm doing an experiment. I have a YouTube channel pretending to be a white. Oh, you'll have 1 million subscribers in no time. Shout out to you. Just don't ever reveal it to anybody. You know what I'm saying? You'll be able to go live and have one person viewing your live stream, And after about 6 months, you'll have 1 million subscribers. You know what I'm saying? So check this out right here. Hold on real quick. I don't know what happened here. Your boy George Santos. You guys remember George Santos? The House has rejected a resolution to expel him. Now, this dude George Santos he's a certified liar. Would everybody agree with that? If you guys would agree with that, give me a thumbs up. If you guys would disagree, give me a thumbs down. 2.5K views since yesterday. See? Told you.
On this vote, the yeas are 179, the nays are 213, with 19 recorded as present. 2/3 not voting in the affirmative. The resolution is not adopted, and a motion to reconsider is laid upon the table.
So there's that. Literally, the fat lady has sung. You know what I'm saying? The House on Wednesday night voted down a resolution to expel Representative George Santos, deferring all future discipline to an ongoing ethics inquiry into the lying Long Island Republican. So now let me ask you guys a question. Why would they vote down a resolution to expel this dude? Let's just gauge this real quick. How many people in here feel that George Santos should be expelled? If you feel like George Santos needs to be expelled, give me a thumbs up. If you guys feel that he doesn't, then give me a thumbs down. I mean, they have just massive amounts of receipts of this guy just flat out blatantly lying. And his lies, if you ask me, definitely contributed to his ability to be able to be voted into the office that he currently has. Knowing that this dude lied, undeniable proof. There is undeniable proof that this individual flat out lied with confidence. They held their heads high and said, we're not going to do anything about it. The same way, with confidence, we held our heads high and we're not going to do anything about the poisoning of the water in Flint, Michigan. Let me ask you guys a serious question. How does that work? Exactly. How does that work? Shout out to Black Star Racer. Black Star Racer said, Long Island is my neck of the woods. A lot of people don't know that Prodigy from Mobb Deep is from Hempstead. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people don't know the Prodigy from Hempstead. You know what I'm saying? But now here's the thing, Katsy. Are they even criminally prosecuting him? Keith Murray. It's the most beautifulest thing in this world. It's just like that. That used to be my shit. That used to be my shit. The most beautifulest thing in this world is just like that. That used to be that shit back in the day. He only hung out on the 41st side. Yeah. Prodigy. Mobb Deep. Queensbridge. You know what I'm saying? So now here it says the resolution failed. 179 to 213, despite 24 Republicans and 155 Democrats casting a ballot to expel the truth-challenged congressman following his sweeping 23-count federal indictment on embezzlement and fraud charges. Now, I don't think he's going to get in trouble for any of this. I think they're going to find a reason to get rid of this. Shout out to Lana. What's good with it, Lana? Yeah, Murray looking bad nowadays. It's sad what happens to it's sad what happens to a lot of rappers, man. Hey, you know who else is looking bad? Your boy Charleston White, AB. I heard he had some shit happen to him a couple nights ago. Did y'all hear about that? I heard him and a gun had a conversation. I heard a gun in his head had a conversation, and the gun kept saying but right to his head. Did y'all hear about that? How many people heard about that? If y'all heard about that, give me a thumbs up. If y'all didn't hear about that, give me a thumbs down. Yeah, there was a gun, and it was having a conversation with his head, and it just kept saying but. Oh man, I bet you We Lit probably put something in the Discord about it. You know what I'm saying? We might talk about it on Reacts on Sunday. So now here it says 4 GOP lawmakers and 15 Democratic members voted present. 22 were absent. Representative Anthony D. Esposito and fellow New York GOP representatives Mark Melanio, Nick LaLota, Brandon Williams, and Mike Lawler brought the privilege revolution to the floor last week, forcing a vote within 2 legislative days. All you have to do is look at the lies and deceptions in the resolution and details of the indictments, multiple indictments, to see that Mr. Santos is a stain on this institution and is not fit to serve in the House of Representatives, D'Esposito said in a House floor speech before the vote. And I mean, here's my question. What benefit do the Republicans get? Yeah, they said he did it while he was asleep. Right, Lena? And that's wild, Catsy, that Menendez was convicted and he's still in. So again, this is just more example of the quote unquote consistent inconsistencies with quote unquote the laws. These individuals here are considered lawmakers. You know what I'm saying? The resolution cites Santos' lies about his personal background, education, and past employment, as well as his fabrications about his family members having escaped World War II Germany and narrowly surviving the September 11th, 2001 terrorist attacks. This is not something you joke about, you lie about, Lawler declared from the House floor before the vote for Santos' falsehoods is unfit. It also points to a recent guilty plea by his 2022 campaign treasurer, Nancy Marks, who admitted to falsifying finance reports, one of which claimed the congressman personally donated $500,000 of his own, or $500,000 to his own campaign. So you have people around this individual getting indicted for things that they actually did. Santos blasted the resolution from the House floor as quote-unquote politically motivated, saying that the overlords of the GOP and the lawmakers bringing the resolution were acting as judge, jury, and executioner against him. Now, let me ask you guys this. Do you agree with that? If you agree with that assumption, then give me a thumbs up. If y'all disagree with that, give me a thumbs down. Now is not the time to set dangerous precedent, he added, pointing to the congressional expulsions that have taken place after members were convicted. Santos also said several members of Congress have maintained their support for Senator Bob Menendez, who is under, and that's who Cassie was just talking about, who is under investigation for federal bribery charges, and Representative Jamal Bowman, who pleaded guilty last week to having falsely pulled a fire alarm in one of the Capitol buildings. Now, look, so Jamal Bowman, he pled guilty to that. At first, he was saying that he didn't do it on purpose. You could tell that he did it on purpose. You know what I'm saying? I must warn my colleagues that voting for expulsion at this point would circumvent the judicial system's right to due process that I am entitled to, he said. Two-thirds of the lower chamber would have had to vote in favor for the 35-year-old Santos to be ejected from Congress. Under former Speaker Kevin McCarthy, House GOP lawmakers batted down an earlier move by Democrats to expel the freshman representative, opting instead to refer Santos' many fabrications and financial misdeeds to the House Ethics Committee. Now, let me ask you guys a question. What do you all think would have happened once that stuff got to the House Ethics Committee? How is the House Ethics Committee going to handle this stuff? House Democrats criticized the New York Republican delegation for having missed a previous opportunity to remove Santos, with their political campaign arm blaming them for having knowingly stalled expelling their criminally indicted colleague from Congress. In one expected turn, Santos yielded his floor time to Representative Dan Goldman, who rose in support of D'Esposito's expulsion resolution while hitting GOP lawmakers for delaying a vote. On Tuesday, the House panel released an interim report that it had contacted approximately 40 witnesses, reviewed more than 170,000 pages of documents, and authorized 37 subpoenas. So, mind you, this is going on within people in our government, this kind of corruption that we have right here. This is the level of corruption that's going on within the government. These are the people that are supposed to be writing the laws and enforcing the laws. Okay? The committee also announced its next course of action against the 3rd District representative would go forward on or before November 17th. Santos has pleaded not guilty to all charges stemming from his federal indictment. At least 9 Republican candidates have announced primary challenges in 2024 as the congressman has refused to resign. House Speaker Mike Johnson also expressed a dim view of the expulsion effort in a Fox News interview last week, noting that Republicans had a 4-seat majority in the House and Santos should be afforded quote-unquote due process. But even after Johnson's remarks, the New York Republicans remained stalwart in their expulsion push hours before the resolution came to the floor, circulating a letter to their colleagues urging them to expel Santos. The United States Congress must always uphold the highest standards and ensure accountability for those who have taken advantage of the American people, regardless of political party, they wrote, which is hilarious because the United States does not have any examples of actually doing that. Let me ask you guys a question. What has the United States done to Brett Favre? Can we all agree that Brett Favre took advantage of the American people? So my question is, what is the criminal justice system, by extension, doing to deal with Brett Favre and what he did? And again, shout out to Torian. Torian has been on it. Lawmakers are some of the biggest law breakers. Facts. The evidence that backs up that statement is not only undeniable, but it's overwhelming and in abundance. You know what I'm saying? Many have rightly called for the resignation and expulsion of Senator Bob Menendez, and we see no difference in the case of George Santos. We must lead by example. We must rise to the occasion. We must do what is right. The House has expelled only 5 of its members in history, with Ohio Democrat James Traficant being the latest to get the boot in 2002 after he was convicted of bribery, racketeering, and tax evasion. Again, mind you, these are the people that are considered quote-unquote lawmakers. These people here are considered lawmakers. Now, shout out to Torian. Like he said, the quote unquote lawmakers are some of the biggest lawbreakers. You know what I'm saying? So next, I think what we're going to talk about, might talk about this later. Put this to the side here. Jury selection is supposed to begin in Marilyn Mosby's pre-jury trial. Now, I had asked you guys about if you knew about this woman, and she is a prosecutor in Maryland. She's another individual that's supposed to be, quote unquote, maintaining laws. She's supposed to be, quote unquote, upholding laws. And she's not. Instead of doing what she's supposed to be doing, she's breaking laws. And real quick, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys haven't smashed the like button, please take a moment. Make sure you guys smash that like button. Also, if you guys haven't hit the bell, please make sure you guys hit the bell. And also, please share the stream to your social media. All right. Jury selection to begin in Marilyn Mosby pre-jury trial. Okay. So let's listen to this. See how this goes.
Jury selection to begin in Marilyn Mosby perjury trial. Jury selection begins Tuesday in the long-awaited federal perjury trial of ex-Baltimore State's Attorney Marilyn Mosby, who is accused of lying about suffering a pandemic-related financial setback in order to pull money out of her city retirement account in 2020. The defense and prosecution met Monday in Greenbelt, where the trial...
Now, let me ask you guys a question. What's up with all these high-level officials lying? What do you guys think about this? Do you guys find it concerning how easy it is and how often these people lie? And I got to agree with Lena. You know what I'm saying? Lena said America is being ran by the mafia. Facts. If you guys agree with her, give me a thumbs up. If y'all disagree, give me a thumbs down. I agree 100%.
Will take place this week and next week to iron out final details before they begin questioning potential jurors. Jury selection may take up to 2 days, though U.S. District Judge Lydia K. Grigsby said she will push to have a full panel chosen Tuesday so that opening statements and testimony can begin. Jurors will fill out a lengthy questionnaire and then answer questions individually in an effort to find an impartial group of 12 people, plus alternates, to hear the case. The questioning, known as voir dire, will be especially important in this case because of Mosby's controversial tenure as Baltimore's top prosecutor. She lost the job when a challenger, Ivan Bates, defeated her in the Democratic primary last year. The defense's fears about a biased juror pool are the reason Mosby's trial will be held in Greenbelt instead of Baltimore, where nearly 2 years of pre-trial wrangling took place at the federal courthouse. Mosby's lawyer, federal public defender James Wida, pushed to move the trial based on the extensive pre-trial publicity and polling that found potential jurors in the District of Maryland's Southern Division, based in Greenbelt, were less familiar with Mosby than those in the Northern Division. Wida also successfully petitioned to have Mosby's case split into 2 trials. The first will deal with 2 counts of perjury, and the second will deal with 2 counts of mortgage fraud.
Real quick, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you guys show Tone some love. Tone just joined the YouTube membership. Throw some radiation emoji in the chat for him. Definitely appreciate that. Tone been a long-time member. He used to have a different username, and his account ended up somehow getting deleted. So, you know what I'm saying, whatever it says as far as his badge, he's actually been around a lot longer than that. So shout out to him. Definitely appreciate the support.
Federal prosecutors allege that Mosby, 43, claimed to have suffered a financial setback during the COVID-19 pandemic in order to make 2 emergency withdrawals from her retirement account under the CARES Act, a piece of federal legislation that was designed to ease the economic damage caused by the health crisis. In total, Mosby withdrew $90,000, which she put toward down payments on 2 vacation properties in Florida, according to the indictment. Mosby
Sounds like a hey, that sounds like a good way to spend some money, doesn't it? That sounds like a good way to spend some money. I wouldn't mind putting some money down on a vacation house in Florida. Would you guys? Especially depending on what part of Florida it is. If it's the ratchet part, if it's Miami, oh hell yeah. I'm balling out.
in total, Mosby withdrew $90,000, which she put toward down payments on 2 vacation properties in Florida, according to the indictment. Mosby is also accused of failing to disclose a $45,000 IRS lien and making other false statements when she applied for mortgages on the properties in Kissimmee and Longboat Key. Mosby attested that she had suffered a pandemic-related financial loss in order to pull money from her retirement account under the CARES Act. Prosecutors say that was a lie, while Mosby is expected to claim at trial that she was trying to launch a travel business when the pandemic squelched those efforts in 2020 and left her down business expenses and other costs. Later that year, however, Mosby said she had no plans to run the business while she was state's attorney. Mosby will likely testify, though the scope of her testimony and what questions prosecutors will be able to ask her on cross-examination remains to be seen. The defense has suggested it will argue that the amount of Mosby's pandemic-related financial loss did not need to match the amount of money she withdrew from her retirement account, and that the Florida vacation homes were purchased as an investment. Both the defense and prosecution said Monday they expect their cases to take between 2 and 3 days, so the trial could wrap up as soon as next week if they stick to that schedule. Jury select.
All right, so there's that. All right. So now here's my question. How do you guys think that this is going to end? And what effect do you think that this is going to have on this woman's career? Y'all recognize anybody here? If y'all recognize anybody in this picture, name them for me. Who do y'all see in this picture? Y'all recognize anybody here? Who that there? Who is that? This is everybody's favorite person, ain't it? After twists and turns, Baltimore's former top prosecutor heads to federal court to face perjury charges. With intertwined elements of race, which again, so apparently there's intertwined elements of race, power, and accusations of corruption. The case is a stunning illustration of the city's political and legal culture. Now, what do they mean by that? What do they mean by that? That's the question. So now here it says Marilyn Mosby, Baltimore's top prosecutor for 8 years and half of one of the city's power couples, will finally face perjury charges next week in federal court in Greenblatt. The case, rife with novel legal theories, charges of racism, and political soap opera, is a stunning illustration of Baltimore's political and legal culture. Postponed 3 times, removed from a Baltimore courthouse and split into 2 by U.S. District of Maryland Judge Lydia K. Grigsby, it pits the former high-profile progressive prosecutor, court-appointed defense lawyers against a U.S. attorney's office that once sent the city's mayor to prison for fraud. Mosby was indicted in January of 2022, accused of taking a loan from her own retirement funds under false pretenses by claiming that the C-19 pandemic caused her to suffer adverse financial consequences. So now here's my question. Where's the proof that what she's saying is not true? Shout out to Tony. What's good with it, Tony? That's my question. Where's the proof that what she's saying isn't true? That's what I'm interested in. In that time, she got a raise from $238,000 to almost $248,000. Now, here's the thing, right? That sounds nice, and it's good that they listed these numbers, but do those numbers dictate what her financial situation is? Just because you get a raise, does that mean that you don't have any financial issues? And I agree with Catsy. Catsy says, well, she could argue that pre C-19, she was planning on getting those 2 vacation homes. Yes, she could. You know what I'm saying? Much of the wrangling over the charge centers on the meaning of hardship in the CARES Act and who gets to decide what qualifies as an adverse financial consequence. And this is what this right here, this particular part right here is exactly what I'm questioning. How does that get determined? And how does it work where somebody else determines that for you? That's my question. She's also accused of lying on mortgage documents for 2 Florida properties that those funds helped pay for. An 8-bedroom house near Disney World and a Gulf Coast condominium. Okay, so now here's the thing. What are they saying that she lied about on the application? See, a lot of times with these particular kinds of situations, they'll throw numbers out to create public outrage, but there's all speculation and nothing really based in fact. And as of right now, with what I'm reading here, I don't see anything that nails this down as just a definitive case of quote unquote fraudulence. She may not have spent her money the way that people would like to see her spend the money, but they've only given accusations and they haven't really substantiated the accusations. You know what I'm saying? So now here says the indictment says she falsely claimed that the house was going to be her residence to get a better interest rate while she had already signed a contract to make that place a short-term rental. So now here's where they run into the problems at. The indictment says she falsely claimed the house was going to be her residence to get a better interest rate while she had already signed a contract to make that place a short-term rental. The indictment claims that to buy the other property, she then lied about a $5,000 gift payment from her now estranged husband, Baltimore City Council President Nick Mosby, who she sued for divorce in July. In both mortgage applications, she falsely claimed that she did not owe back taxes to the IRS, while she and Mosby faced a $45,000 lien. So now we're getting into the meat of the issue, and it seems like she's not being accurate on her application. See, here's where some issues are. She then lied about a $5,000 gift payment from her now estranged husband, Baltimore City Council President Nick Mosby, who she sued for divorce in July. In both mortgage applications, she falsely claimed that she did not owe back taxes to the IRS, while she and Mosby faced a $45,000 lien. Now, I'm curious as to, I wonder if her husband actually owes the $45,000 lien, and she made this claim while they were married, but during the divorce process. So once they became divorced, she wouldn't owe it. Only her husband would. I'm curious as to if that's the situation. You know what I'm saying? What do you guys think? So now here it says she bought the Kissimmee house for $545,000 and the condo in Longboat Key for $476,000, records show. Elected state attorney in 2014, Mosby made a name for herself by criminally prosecuting 6 city police officers involved in the death of Freddie Gray while in custody, which sparked citywide riots. None of the officers were convicted, but Mosby enjoyed a high profile as a part of a new breed of progressive prosecutors working to change criminal justice policy. So now let me ask you guys this question. How progressive is this lady if she couldn't get a sentence on this? Do you guys notice that these people get all of this recognition and they never even get the results that we're asking for? Now, let me ask you guys a question. Why didn't why didn't those 6 police officers get prosecuted or have to end up facing a sentence for what ended up happening to Freddie Gray? So now here it says she filed a mass coram nobis petition to vacate all of the convictions, or I'm sorry, to vacate the convictions of thousands of people who had been found guilty on marijuana possession, a gambit that also quietly failed. Maryland legalized marijuana this year. So why are the people that had marijuana possession still in jail? And that's I thought that, Carla. I thought that. Carla said yes, but they usually say both owe the line unless he agreed to pay the line in divorce paperwork. Yeah. After cruising to re-election in 2018, Mosby stepped up her travel schedule even as the city's murder rate remained near record levels. So now my question is, what is her staying in the state going to do to stop murder levels from going up? Is her simply being in Maryland going to affect murder rate numbers? I don't understand why she needs to be there. I mean, like, my thing is if you have PTO time or if you have PTO hours or if you have time off or pay time off or whatever, why would you not be allowed to use it? That's what it's there for. You earned it, so why should you not use it? Does that make any sense? So now here it says the criminal case against Mosby has roots in a 2020 story published in the Baltimore Brew, a tiny news outlet that investigated her travel and business interests, revealing that she secretly established a trio of travel and legal consulting businesses called Mahogany Elite Travel, Mahogany Elite Consulting, and Mahogany Elite Enterprises, LLC. The series came a month after former Mayor Catherine Pugh pleaded guilty to perjury for failing to disclose a company that peddled children's books to political players as a way to secretly enrich herself. Pugh was sentenced to 3 years in federal prison, but served only half after prosecutors quietly altered her plea agreement. Mosby insisted that her companies were meant to remain dormant while she served as the state's attorney. Irritated by the negative coverage in the online-only publication, Mosby called on the city's inspector general, Mercedes Cummings, to investigate and clear her. But Cummings found that Mosby's did violate the city's ethics ordinance by failing to disclose the new business on her forms. Cummings refused to back down when Mosby and her lawyers furiously protested her findings. So that's interesting. She called on one of her colleagues to try to get her off, and her colleague is going to capitalize on this situation to keep her on the hook. It's a dog-eat-dog world out there. Would you guys agree? If y'all agree, give me a thumbs up. If y'all disagree, give me a thumbs down. So now here it says federal prosecutors opened the case soon after, and in March of 2021, the Brew broke the news that Mosby had bought 2 Florida homes for more than $1 million. The federal charges came nearly a year later. Mosby's lead defense lawyer, A. Scott Bolden, filed a motion to dismiss the indictment in February of 2022, claiming it was time to scuttle Mosby's reelection and prospects, and suggesting that the prosecutor, Assistant U.S. Attorney Leo Wise, was racist and that the entire prosecutorial process was so thoroughly tainted by animus that the case should be tossed. It was not. Mosby lost her bid for re-election in 2022 spring primary. She left office in January of this year. Bolden continued to press a legal strategy of disparagement, claiming Mosby was being selectively prosecuted and local media coverage had tainted the jury pool and that the case was bullshit. After Grigsby threatened sanctions, he withdrew from the case along with the rest of Mosby's legal team. The strategy may have paid dividends, though. Judge Grigsby split the indictment into 2 cases. The perjury charge involving the retirement fund withdrawals to be tried next week, and the mortgage fraud cases to be tried at an unspecified later date. David Plimer, a former assistant state's attorney and the county attorney in Annie Andro and longtime Mosby critic, says splitting the cases will likely make the prosecutions work harder. Although that's the reason, he said in a phone interview. In essence, she is saying it would be too easy to convict her using the original indictment linking both alleged frauds. Now, here's my question. I don't think that it would be easier to prosecute her, because if it would have been, then they would have done that already, right? They also would have easily been able to stop her from changing these venues. They would have been able to keep it in one place. But for whatever reason, they weren't able to. No, I don't think if she had stayed married, she would have been good. I think if she had and I could be wrong about this, but I think if she had stayed married, probably both her and her husband would be under the scrutiny right now. I honestly think, depending on when that took place, her husband could actually get pulled in. Her ex-husband could actually get pulled in. You know what I'm saying? So now here it says Grigsby also granted a change of venue last month, moving the trial 30 miles south of Greenbelt. It's unprecedented in a place that recently saw the mayor convicted and once presided over the prosecution of Vice President Spiro Agnew. Neither the prosecution nor the defense was able to identify a case moved within the federal court district in Maryland throughout its 234-year history, Assistant U.S. Attorney Aaron Zielinski said at that hearing. In July, Mosby filed for divorce. Her court-appointed lawyer from the Office of the Public Defender, James Whitka, said they might call him as a witness in the mortgage fraud case. Mosby is expected in court Monday for final motions hearing before jury selection begins, with opening arguments scheduled for November 2nd. So this is going to be interesting. I'm interested to see how this turns out. You know what I'm saying? Hold on real quick, guys. My bad. I'm interested to see how this turns out. And the reason why I'm interested to see how this turns out is because I don't think they're going to get anywhere with this. And the reason why I don't think that they're going to get anywhere with this is because there's a lot of speculation. And when it comes to financial crimes, for the most part, everything has to be in black and white. If they can't prove 110% exactly what it is that they're trying to prove, which is that she didn't go through financial hardship and all of that other stuff, it's going to leave wiggle room for it to be up for grabs. Now, the one thing that I think that they're going to have the hardest time with is that particular situation where she didn't fill out the applications accurate. that right there is probably the if anything is able to get the conviction, that's going to be it. But even that, depending on how her lawyer coaches her, she might be able to get out of that too. But regardless, you have to ask yourself the question, why are all of these alleged lawmakers involved in so much shade? Why? Make it make sense. So let me know what you guys think, ladies and gentlemen, okay, about that particular case. Let me know what you guys think about the entire stream. Make sure you guys leave lots of comments. I'm going to shout out everybody that contributed. Shout out to my man AB Promotions with the $19.99 super chat. Show him some love. Shout out to Black Spider with the $20 super chat. Show her some love. Definitely appreciate it. Shout out to DSB for the 9 months of support. Definitely appreciate it. Shout out to Hurricane IQ for the 2 months of support. Definitely appreciate it. And shout out to Tone for rejoining the membership. Definitely appreciate it. All right. We will probably be live a little bit later on today with some more topics. So make sure that you got the notification bell hit. All right. Make sure that you are a part of the Discord. Hit that link that's in the comment section. I appreciate each and every one of you all being here. And I will catch you all on the next stream. All right. Look at that. We got some buzzer beaters. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Tone with the $2 super chat. Show him some love. Throw some radiation emoji in the chat. And shout out to Val for the $5 super chat. Definitely appreciate it. Appreciate you guys. You guys are awesome. Like I always say, I got the best subscribers on YouTube. I got some more of those BLR stories coming up. If you guys like those and enjoy them, let me know in the comment section, you know, and I will keep on bringing them. All right. And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, peace.